Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm just superb and fantastic. Going to be chatting with Sebastian Junger, or actually I think it's Junger, coming up later in the program. Now, I don't know how it's pronounced. It's got a J, but it might be Younger. Anyway, going to visit with him about a new book he has called Tribe, and I'm excited to chat with him. I think this will be a lot of fun. It's coming up later in the program today. In Essen, Germany, whoa, what's going on over there?
Sorry.
Heidi's phone's going nuts.
Phone.
In Essen, Germany, there's a steel mill where bosses require their workers to sign a sworn statement every morning vowing that they've had 8 hours of sleep the night before. Any worker seen out past midnight and lying about the 8 hours of shut-eye is fired immediately.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm glad they don't do that here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think when the last time I got 8 hours of shut-eye would be.
I try to.
Maybe
I lay down, but I just don't sleep.
I don't get that much sleep. A new law passed in Costa Rica allows women to have a man arrested for trying to pick them up. If found guilty, the man can get up to 50 days in prison or a fine just for trying to pick up a woman. So
how would you prove that?
I don't know. He was flirting with me. No, I wasn't flirting with you. It was the woman behind you. Anyway, we got some special things happening today. We'll tell you about that in a bit.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Friday, June the 10th. It's Alcoholic Anonymous Founders Day today. So you can anonymously celebrate that today. It's also Ballpoint Pen Day, which is quite an invention. They used to dip a thing in ink to write, and then somebody came up with this idea. Put the ink inside. Well, it's all going to run out. No. Put a ballpoint in there, and then have it so it rolls around. What a great idea. I mean, awesome idea. It's Iced Tea Day today, which was invented during the World's Fair when it was so hot out. They put ice in regular tea, and then they started this thing. I love it. It's good stuff. Banana Split Day today. National Lemonade Day today. So Lemonade Day and Iced Tea Day are together. And
That's cool.
Poultry Day today as well.
I like poultry.
I'm going to celebrate with some poultry. That would be chicken, right? Or some turkey.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have an Arnold Palmer. Isn't that half lemonade and half iced tea? Today is my day.
I don't know. I've
We
never
are
had
set.
an Arnold
I'm pretty
Palmer.
sure that's what that is. Thanks for listening on this Friday, the 10th of June.
Whether you're an experienced shooter or someone new to self-defense, Front Sight Firearms Training Institute has a course for you. You may recognize Front Sight from their reality TV show filmed at this private range 45 minutes west of Las Vegas. A Diamond Lifetime membership is $15,000, but we have a special price of just $3,000 available now only at radiosavings.com. This lifetime membership allows you to take over 50 courses as often as you'd like at Front Sight Firearms Training Institute. Get this deal right now at radiosavings.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Heidi, would you go to a doctor that did not have insurance? I mean, he didn't have like malpractice insurance, any of that kind of stuff? You might if you heard about his prices. Let me tell you what's going on. Doctors know that they're expensive, but they usually can't do anything about it because of the increasing insurance costs and the need for doctors to have nurses and assistants and receptionists. Well, there's a chiropractor that's trying to change all of that, at least for his own office. In fact, he doesn't even bill his patients. Dr. Samuel Jeffrey Ray, he's a chiropractor in Mount Airy, North Carolina. He works on the honor system. And when it comes to receiving money from his patients, he says it's working out. It's called the Affordable Walk-In Chiropractic Clinic. So I think walk-in, like kind of walk-in.
Right.
Anyway, they only charge $30 for the first visit and then $20 for every follow-up. And you pay at the end of your appointment by dropping your money into a milk can located near the door on your way out. Dr. Ray said he's found that most patients are pretty darn honest, and he only knows of 2 incidents in the 5 years he's been at this location where people took money from the jar.
Oh, that's sad.
Maybe we shouldn't be telling people on the radio that the money's in the milk can by the door. I mean, you probably don't want to promote that.
I'm sure they know that if that's where they're supposed to put the money. I'm sure they know where the money is.
An incident where Jay Leno, so this is back when he was on TV, talked about a thing. There was a gas station in North Dakota that went on the honor system, and they had a little box that you'd stick the money in, and he talked about it on the Tonight Show way back when Jay Leno was in charge there. And because it was promoted on that TV program, people went and stole the money out of the box and
That's
stole gas.
awful.
Up until that point, they'd never had an issue. Then they started talking about it, on national scale, and people were like, well, I could just go there and steal the gas
What is wrong
and
with
steal the
people?
money. So you had to lock it
I
up
don't
at
know how
night.
some people sleep at
Yeah.
night. I really don't.
I don't know either. Bad. So anyway, this guy's got the honor system, and he says it's working, and you know it's true because you heard about it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your brain on drugs. We're going to head down under to talk about some Australian burglars who recently pried open a window at a home late one night with the intent of robbing the place. The robbery might have been more successful if it hadn't been for one slight hitch. Police had gotten word that marijuana was being grown inside the house, and they broke in through the front door moments earlier. They managed to nab both the pot farmer and the would-be burglars who were trying to steal the pot. So it was kind of a, two birds, one stone scenario there. So the police were there to nab the bad guys who were selling the pot, but there was another bad guy breaking in at the exact same time that they caught them both at the same time. I think that's really kind of funny. The timing was just impeccable. All right, kids, that's what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Got your moment of duh here. How to get fat and how to lose it. That all comes from today's moment of duh. Duke University Medical Center researchers have determined, Heidi, that physical inactivity leads to a significant increase in potentially dangerous visceral fat.
Oh, wow.
Do you think? So saying sitting around doing nothing could
I'm
cause
so
you to get
glad
fat?
they did that study.
Oh, they're not done. More obvious of a finding, they also discovered that high amounts of exercise could lead to a significant decrease in such fat. Are you kidding
That
me?
is absolutely amazing.
For these studies, Duke University received a grant from the National Heart, Lung, and Blood
Oh, my
Institute
gosh.
for how much do you think, Heidi?
I don't even want to know because it's just going to make me
just
mad.
guess. Say a number, and I bet you're wrong.
4 million.
Holy cow, you're almost right. $4.3 million.
Wow.
Yeah, $4.3 million to find out that sitting around could cause you to be fat, and exercising
That
could
just makes
lead
me
to
mad.
a decrease in fat. Do you think? I need to get in on some of this stuff. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday.
The scoop of the day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. While only 20% of American adults are getting the recommended amount of exercise each week, almost 60% of us are eating out weekly. 14% of us dine out 3 times a week. Do we fit in that number, Heidi?
Yeah.
Better than I
sadly.
fit in my pants.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is. We do a lot better now than we have in the past. I think we're doing pretty darn good. Doing real good about eating at home. Hey, if you could bring your dog or cat to work, would you take a pay cut?
No.
32%
If I
of dog
took a pay
owners.
cut, I'd have to be paying this place to come in.
According to a survey, 32% of dog owners said they would take a pay cut if they could bring their dog to work.
That is the most ridiculous thing.
I would not. As a matter of
Oh, my
fact, our
gosh.
dogs like to bark a lot, so it would be bad. I love our dogs. I love them dearly, but I don't think they could hang around here because they
Would drive everybody else nuts.
Oh yeah, and me too. That'd be bad. Charlie Sheen is back in the news, Heidi.
I like Charlie Sheen.
He's supposedly in trouble with American Express. They're suing the troubled TV star for an unpaid $200,000 in charges. Whoa, he must have a much higher credit limit than we have. I don't even have a credit card. I mean, I can't even put one in my wallet. That's how low my credit limit is. So, so American Express, a $200,000 unpaid American Express bill. Wouldn't it be awful to have that kind of stuff in the news about you? I mean, that wouldn't be good.
Yeah.
I like Charlie Sheen. I hope it all works out. Taking low doses of aspirin can reduce the risk of many kinds of cancer, and the evidence is strong enough to suggest that people over 40 should take a daily aspirin as protection. According to some experts, while taking aspirin carries a small risk of stomach bleeding, that risk was beginning to be drowned out by the benefits of reducing the risk of cancer and the risk of heart attacks. So saying an aspirin a day keeps the heart attack away, and it also could keep the cancer away as well. When I was a kid, I remember I was never a fan of the baby aspirin, the kid aspirins, you know, little ones. And I got one of those. You chew them up, the chewables. And then I got a real aspirin one time, and I chewed that up.
I did that too.
That is awful. Ugh.
I did that too. Nobody told me it was. My dad gave them to me. He didn't tell me they were real aspirin, and I had never had a real aspirin before, so I had no clue.
Don't ever do that. It's so bad.
I chewed it up, and he was like, "Well, you know what he called me." He was like, "What'd you do that for?"
Nobody told me not to. That's what I did that for. Hey, British researchers say missing DNA may be to blame for severe obesity in some children. You would think it'd be more DNA, but it's a study on 300 obese children found evidence that the lack of a certain chunk of DNA may be promoting extreme weight gain. So that's my problem, Heidi.
It is.
I just don't have enough DNA.
Also could be that we never move and we eat out.
The sedentary lifestyle, is that what you're saying? Evidence shows that drinking is bad for your image even if you don't open your mouth. Just holding a glass of alcohol makes you look stupid. It does not matter if you're male or female, or if you're drinking wine or beer. If people see you drinking, they automatically think you are dumber than you otherwise appear. So they showed images of people, and they asked who looked the smartest. And there were people holding booze. They always thought they were a little dumber than the people that were not holding booze, apparently.
I disagree with
Heidi
that.
is rolling her eyes on that. I can tell you...
They're probably comparing that picture to, like, Albert Einstein. Who looks dumber? That's so stupid.
I can show you photos of when you've been drinking, and you don't look smart. So what is this? This is you tangled up in the clothesline.
But I feel smarter.
Look at that. You were tangled in the clothesline. Trying to put your shirt on while it's still pinned up. Yeah, I don't know what you were up to. And finally, 54% of parents say they give their kids an allowance, and the average amount is $65 a month.
Whoa!
Most parents say their kids earn the allowance by doing chores at least an hour of chores a week. So if you need something to tell the kids, since they're probably home for school, for summer rather, say, hey, you want to earn your $65 a month? An hour a week of chores. You go through and do the math on that. It's probably still a pretty good deal.
Our kids got the short end of the stick on that one. They've never gotten $65.
But they've also never done chores.
This is true. They've never really done the chores.
All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This has been quite an election so far, and we've got a long ways to go. Stay informed at politicalstorm.com. It's a cool site with political news and information on the campaigns, plus a place to chime in and have a say in what you think. If you're into politics, you need to check out politicalstorm.com. Get informed from several different sources all in one place. Listen to podcasts like mine and learn about current election topics, read fun editorials, and engage your brain. It's your country. It's your vote. It's your voice. Politicalstorm.com. That's politicalstorm.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a special guest joining us on the telephone line, and he's got a brand new book. Sebastian Junger, how are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you.
And the book is called Tribe on Homecoming and Belonging. And now, first of all, how long have you been working on this book?
It's a short book. It's 100 pages. It's based off some research I'd done for a magazine article. And so it didn't take that long. It took maybe around a year for me to write.
And the thing that's interesting about this book, we're going to be kind of talking about how Trump and Sanders' divisiveness have created new communities for America seeking a tribe. Because, there are some people that are not familiar with the term tribe, but what a tribe is, it's just a big group of people. And so, you might hear people saying, oh, they're jumping on the Trump bandwagon, or what have I heard? The Trump train. I saw a sign that said, get on board the Trump train. Those are people who are part of the tribe for Trump, right?
Yeah, I should say that our evolution as humans has produced in us a very strong tendency to want to belong to groups. It's safer, it's self-reinforcing, it all makes perfect sense. There's a downside to everything. The downside to creating a strong group identity, as Trump has done, is that it risks dividing the larger group, which is this nation. So you have to be very careful when you use this idea of tribe. It's one that we got from evolution. It works, but it also can work against us.
And one of the things that's amazing with social media, I have seen the tribe concept spreading so much faster, because you'll have somebody that's a supporter and they'll say something on social media, and you'll see friends that have been friends for years who unfriend each other over things like this.
That's right. And I should also add that in the ancient sense of the word tribe, you're talking about people who live in the same place, who share resources, and who share defense. That's what a tribe really is. When we talk about it in the modern context, we're really talking kind of metaphorically. The point of my book is that when you lose that ancient sense of tribe, when you're no longer affiliated with the people you actually live near, when you're not sharing defense, sharing resources, as we were all sort of meant to do, you lose something very important in the human experience, and it's actually psychologically very, very hard on people.
Again, visiting right now with the author of a brand new book. We've got Sebastian Junger on the phone with us, and the book is called Tribe on Homecoming and Belonging. And we're talking very much about the candidates that we have in the election. And we've got kind of the unlikely candidates of Trump and Sanders, and they grew out of America's feeling of loss and alienation. Explain to me how that worked out.
Well, I'm not a political expert, and the book really isn't focused on politics per se. But I think in any healthy tribal community, there is a form of social justice where you don't have people who are too poor and too rich. That's how we evolved as a species, living in groups of 40 or 50 people. They were more or less egalitarian. With all the wonderful benefits of modern society, one thing that you get, the downside, is enormous income disparity. And I think what you're seeing in the Trump supporters, particularly in the Sanders supporters, is this big group of people saying, hey, wait a minute, we've been left behind. Why are our wages stagnating while the top 3% or whatever of the country not only is rich, but is getting richer? Like, that's not tribal behavior, and intuitively they know it, and that's where these political movements have come from.
And now, aside from politics, I'm looking at the info that we've got here, and it says there are also tribes that form out of tragedies, like 9/11 and Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Sandy. Let's talk about tribes that form out of things like that, where people have all gone through this disaster together.
Well, the interesting thing is that when you take modern society, if you collapse it through a calamity, an earthquake, a war, a hurricane, it doesn't fall apart into mayhem. It comes together in a psychologically very healthy way. So during the Blitz in London, 30,000 people were killed by German bombs. The authorities were prepared for mass psychiatric casualties along with the physical casualties. But the opposite happened. Admissions to psychiatric wards went down during the bombing and then went back up after the air raids ended. Hardship forces people to band together, and when they do that, they basically get happier and more functional, and they miss those terrible days, quote, terrible days. So what you have in America right now is a society which is very wealthy and affluent and safe, which is a great blessing, but it allows us to be more and more individualistic. And ironically, that does not lead towards happiness. It leads towards loneliness and often mental illness.
Again, visiting right now with Sebastian Junger. He is the author of Tribe. It's a new book on homecoming and belonging and combining history and psychology and anthropology. Now, this book is available right now. Where can I find a copy of this?
Hopefully everywhere. It's in bookstores. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It should be everywhere.
And let's talk a little bit about you when you're not writing this book. What else do you do for a living, sir?
I'm an author and journalist. I was a war reporter for a long time. I stopped after a good friend of mine was killed in combat in Libya, and that got me to stop war reporting. I had a lot of close calls, and I figured it was better to get out. Now I continued writing books, and I made four documentary films. One of which, called Restrepo, documented the life at a small outpost in eastern Afghanistan with American soldiers, and Restrepo went on to be nominated for an Oscar, actually.
Wow, that's really cool. And I'll tell you, speaking of tribes, I know of some tribes, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. Those are some pretty strong tribes as well, aren't they?
Yeah, again, really the classic meaning of the word is people who live in the same place and share defense and resources. Certainly when you're in the service, that absolutely qualifies, and I think that's one reason that the service is such a compelling experience for people. One of the things I noticed, I was out at this remote outpost off and on for a year with 20 men in eastern Afghanistan, a lot of combat. It was miserable out there. They didn't have internet or phone or anything. They were all sleeping in the dirt most of the time, and they all missed it. And it really made me wonder, what is it about modern society that people are so reluctant to come home to? They'd rather be in combat than come back home, and that's what the book Tribe tries to answer.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to chat with us, and it sounds like a fascinating book. Now, since we talked a little bit about politics, as we've been experiencing, I think, one of the most interesting campaigns, especially in my lifetime, with your insight on tribes, has this kind of surprised you to see how the Trump train and the Sanders train has been rolling, or is this something that you kind of looked at and said, I kind of expected that to happen?
I don't want to say I expected it, but what I should say is that same sense of tribalism that is making those campaigns very cohesive and close is also a deep threat to the country. You cannot, if we're going to understand ourselves to be a unified country, politicians cannot talk about their rivals, about other people, fellow citizens, as if they are the enemy, as if they are not in the tribe. You just can't do it. It will divide this country. ISIS is not a threat to our democracy in the long term, but that kind of contemptuous political rhetoric is a threat, and I think it's a very dangerous game to play, to speak like that about others, just in order to consolidate your base. It's very dangerous and it's deeply unpatriotic.
No matter who it is that gets elected, you're going to be the president for all of those people. So why would you want to alienate half of the crowd? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
That's right. I mean, when you use that kind of contempt for the president, for the government, for your political rivals, you're speaking in ways that are usually reserved for the enemy, for speaking about the enemy.
Yeah.
You can't talk like that about people who are in your camp. I mean, like it or not, I mean, we can debate, we can dispute, we can argue, but we have to consider everyone in this country to be part of the unified whole, or the country eventually will fail.
Sebastian, thank you again for taking some time to chat with us. I really do appreciate it. I'm looking at the clock. I know you've got another interview coming up, so thank you again.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And again, Sebastian Junger, author of Tribe on Homecoming and Belonging. It is available right now at Amazon or wherever you like to buy your books. Thank you so much for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Do you buy lottery tickets? Maybe you wait till the jackpot is big, then you buy one. I was like that too. Like my odds got better because the jackpot was more. Well, I think I found something that actually will give me a better chance to win. It's called Lotto-licious. I learned about this from Richard Lustig. He literally wrote the book on how to win the lottery, and he should know. He's a 7-time lottery game grand prize winner. Richard plays and endorses Lotto-licious, and I just signed up too. I'd love it if you join Richard and I. You can play Powerball and Mega Millions without even going to the store. Sign up right now at RadioLottopool.com.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Best-selling author in the world is a guy by the name of James Patterson. Believe it or not, he was turned down by 31 publishers before he got his first book deal.
I've read some of his stuff. He's good.
I saw him. I got that fun fact off TV over the weekend, last weekend, and I've been waiting to save it to share it with you. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Flying foxes. Giant flying foxes are a type of bat, and they have a wingspan of nearly 6 feet. And that's a real thing. A 6-foot wingspan. If you have something like that show up at your house, you don't call the exterminator, you call a realtor and you move. And I mean to a different state. That would be awful. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Wallpaper.
Yeah.
Wallpaper was first used for decorations for tombs in China. That's what it was invented for. Yeah.
Ah.
Fun fact for you,
What's
Heidi.
that, John?
Have you ever heard somebody say, "Holy Toledo"?
Yeah.
Do you know that has nothing to do with Ohio? It has everything to do with Toledo, Spain, which was an outstanding Christian cultural center in 1085. So it was literally Holy City, Holy Toledo. That's what it was. So now you know. A couple of fun facts for you right here on the John and Heidi Show.
Whether you're an experienced shooter or someone new to self-defense, Front Sight Firearms Training Institute has a course for you. You may recognize Front Sight from their reality TV show filmed at this private range 45 minutes west of Las Vegas. A diamond lifetime membership is $15,000, but we have a special price of just $3,000 available now only at radiosavings.com. This lifetime membership allows you to take over 50 courses as often as you'd like at Front Sight Firearms Training Institute. Get this deal right now at radiosavings.com.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday. Did you know that sugar can make you stupid? I'm in trouble. Too much sugar will make you stupid, according to a researcher. The suggestion follows tests in a laboratory comparing high fructose corn syrup, which is 6 times sweeter than cane sugar, and a common ingredient in processed foods with omega-3 fatty acids known to aid memory and learning. In an experiment on rats, one group had a sugary diet for 6 weeks, and another was fed healthy food for 6 weeks. At the start of the study, published in the Journal of Physiology at the University of California, they tested how well the rats navigated a maze. They put in landmarks to help them learn their way. 6 weeks later, the researchers tested the rats' ability to recall the route or the route, depending on where you are. The co-author, Professor Fernando Gomez Penilla, says the rats fed a sugary diet were slower and their brains had declined. He said eating a high-fructose diet over long term alters your brain's ability to learn and remember information. However, the good news is that eating nuts and fish like salmon can actually counteract this disruption. So they're saying if you want to be smart, eat some salmon and some fish, and then you'll be able to find your way through a rat maze.
There you go.
Kind of makes you wonder who comes up with the ideas for these studies. They're like, okay, we're going to build a maze.
Yeah.
Set some rats loose.
Some people have just way too much time on
And
their
then
hands.
we're going to feed them a sugary diet for 6 weeks. And then we're going to set the rats loose again. I just kind of wonder who's coming up with this stuff. It almost sounds like something from what were those movies called?
Twilight Zone?
No, the ones that the guy Saw, where they had all these weird things that people are stuck in these traps. These poor little rats. He's like, man, I'm just hungry. You're the ones feeding me the fatty, sugary stuff. I can't even find my way through the maze anymore. It kind of makes me feel
Can't fit through the maze anymore.
Kind of makes me feel like I used to work at a place that had a lot of cubicles, and I felt like a rat in a maze when I'd walk through that place. All right, thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. The 5-second rule is on the way.
Hey, this is Tim from Hope and Faith Machine Works. Are you having one of these days?
How in the world am I going to do that?
Or even,
if I could just have this, my life would be so much easier.
Well, this kind of stuff is my specialty. At Hope and Faith Machine Works, we work with anyone who needs something built, fabricated, or just done right. We've done medical, industrial, PLC, and prototype designs. You can reach us at yourhopeourfaith.com. That's yourhopeourfaith.com.
Have you ever heard of the 5-second rule?
Yes.
Explain it to me for a second.
If you
Tell me
drop
what that is.
something on the floor, it's okay to eat it if you pick it up within 5 seconds.
Is it for real or is it not, Heidi?
Oh, it's absolutely for real.
Finally, a useful study from science. According to an article from Relevant Magazine, science has proven the 5-second rule is real. A team at the Austin University School of Life and Health Sciences in England intentionally dropped a bunch of foods on indoor surfaces and used microbiology to measure the transfer of E. coli or staph bacteria. Officials said they found evidence that the transfer from indoor flooring, such as surfaces, was incredibly poor, with carpet actually posing the lowest risk of bacterial transferred onto the dropped food. So saying if it landed on carpet, it was the best or that was the worst? Incredibly poor transfer.
So it won't transfer if it's dropped on carpet as easily as it will.
But that's where you get all the carpet fibers and you got all the yucky stuff. I don't know.
Carpet fibers, but not
E. coli.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying I still don't want to eat it with carpet fibers, so it doesn't transfer E.
Just
coli.
blow it off.
How about just dust and gunk in general? I don't know. I think I'm going to steer clear of my own 5-second rule. If it lands on the ground, I'll let you eat it for 5 seconds. But I'm steer clear of that. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. That'll be my new diet. It's the 5-second diet. Just drop everything on the floor. I won't eat nearly as much.
John and Heidi.
It's not just the gas prices that are going up in the summertime. You're going to see more for movies as well. If you can even afford to drive to the movies, they're saying popcorn prices are going to be higher. Most of the snacks that you find inside there are going to be higher. 25 cents or more at most movie places around the country. The concession stand is where theaters actually make their money. And since the bulk of the ticket prices go to the distributor of the film, theaters are having to bump up prices for a number of reasons, such as higher employee wages and converting to digital projection. All of this stuff, even the corn for popcorn has gone up because now we're burning that as ethanol as well, and it's being used in many other ways. But the price of corn has gone up. That would normally feed us, but now it's going into, in this case, popcorn, and it's driving up the prices as well. So if you're planning on going out to see the big summer blockbuster of the year, which one is that? Do we even know what movies are out?
I have no clue what's
I haven't
coming
seen
out.
a commercial for a movie in a long time.
I don't pay attention.
I remember seeing something about Batman and Superman. That's
There
been a while
aren't very
ago,
many
isn't it?
new movies
I
that
think
are
that's
good,
done.
so I don't even look
I don't know.
anymore.
Somebody's shouting at the radio about the movie they want to see. But that's the one right there. When you go see that, you might pay an extra quarter for your popcorn. Coming up, we've got some good news on the way. And before then, we're going to talk about Tetris and losing weight with it. It's on the way.
John and Heidi.
This has been quite an election so far, and we've got a long ways to go. Stay informed at politicalstorm.com. It's a cool site with political news and information on the campaigns, plus a place to chime in and have a say in what you think. If you're into politics, you need to check out politicalstorm.com. Get informed from several different sources all in one place. Listen to podcasts like mine and learn about current election topics, read fun editorials, and engage your brain. It's your country. It's your vote. It's your voice. Politicalstorm.com. That's politicalstorm.com.
John and Heidi.
I remember when I was a young man, there was a video game that came out called Tetris. Do you remember this game?
I remember. I didn't like it.
I loved it. I mean, Tetris, for whatever reason, clicked in my brain, and I was so good at that. I could get way up to the top levels, like to level 2 and stuff. More than that. But scientists now have found that you can lose weight doing something you're probably already doing, playing mindless video games like Tetris. Just make sure it's the right one. A study by the researchers at Plymouth University found that playing Tetris for 3 minutes can reduce the strength of your food cravings. And that's not all. The study revealed the game could also dissuade you from drinking alcohol and smoking. Basically, it's replacing addiction with distraction. It's an interesting idea. Now, the video game you play on your computer is called Candy Crush. And it makes me hungry, so I don't think that one's going to work. But that's kind of like Tetris.
Because you're not stacking stuff.
No, but you got to line things up.
Together. Well, yeah, but
I watched an absolutely fascinating, and when I say fascinating, I mean fascinating to me. You'll see exactly how low that bar is here in a second. I saw a fascinating program about the game Tetris. Did you know that it was invented in Russia during the Cold War? And it was behind the Iron Curtain, and these guys found out about this game. And there was a man on a mission to get this video game because he had this. He wanted to launch it in America, and it was absolutely fascinating. The story of how Tetris actually came to America, and I really think it's fascinating. I think it would make a cool movie. I really do. The story of Tetris, because it is such an unbelievable story what they had to go through to get this video game, and it was all for a game. But at the end of the day, I'm glad they did it because I love it. That's one of my favorite video games. So, fascinating story. If you've seen it before, you know just how fascinating it is. Everybody else is looking at me right now like Heidi is going, really? That doesn't even sound interesting.
I'm sure it's interesting.
Fascinating. All right, we've got some good news on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap things up around here with some good news, and I think this is kind of our good news coffee story of the week. Don't we have a story like once a week or every couple of weeks about how good coffee is for you?
Yes.
And then like the next week it's how bad coffee is for you.
And then it's good for you again.
Hey, this week coffee is good for you again.
That's nice.
It says in the story, drinking coffee is good for you. Not only can a few cups of coffee a day lower your risk of heart attack, just the scent, the smell of coffee
I love the smell
can make
of
you
coffee.
less stressed. And the type of coffee you drink, well, that can actually say a lot about you. What does your coffee preference say about your personality? Well, there's a group called the Coffee Tasting Club. I've got a link to all this fascinating information. It's fascinating. Anyway, it's at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show if you want to follow along. The latte drinker, Heidi, is a comfort seeker. Not a stinker. I don't know what that is. A comfort seeker, laid back and reflective. Are you a latte drinker?
I like lattes.
Yeah, because I remember you order like a mocha latte or something. What am I? Just a black coffee guy?
Black coffee.
Okay, so we'll get to that. An espresso drinker is a hard-working leader, always on the go. I don't think I've ever had espresso.
You wouldn't like espresso.
Maybe I need some, because then I'd be a little more hardworking and on the go and stuff. I would probably be more like on the John is what I would be, because I don't think that'd be good for my tummy. The cappuccino drinker, or cappuccino. How do you say that?
Cappuccino.
Did I say it funny the first time?
I don't think so.
Cappuccino? I don't know. Sociable, creative, and optimistic. I think that sounds like me. I'm going to have to switch to cappuccino.
I'm not a huge fan of cappuccino. It's almost too sweet.
The black coffee drinker is quiet and moody.
That is so not you.
A purist and an occasional extrovert. Oh, that's so me. Except for it's the opposite.
Not at all.
And the artisan coffee drinker. I wonder if that's what, is that what I am? Because I put cream in mine. I don't know what, artisan coffee drinker. Fashionable, but outside the cultural mainstream.
Fashionable.
Look at my shirt. This is so fashionable. And look at that spaghetti stain right there. It matches the meatball stain over here.
Oh, man.
And the frappuccino drinker. I do like frappuccinos. That's cold coffee, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Frappuccino drinkers are stylish and spontaneous and trendsetters. You guys are so off the mark on all of this. Where's the one that says late for every meeting, terrible ideas? I don't know. That's the one that I would be. So I'm going to just write that one in. But I already have all this on our page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great Friday. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Bonus break brought to you by RadioSavings.com. Ooh, I got you, didn't I? You were thinking WinThisOnline.com. Well, there's a connection there, but WinThisOnline.com is where you win stuff. RadioSavings.com, it's almost like winning, but you're buying stuff at a dirt cheap price. And as a matter of fact, right now, there's a $15,000 lifetime membership to a place called Front Sight Firearms Training Institute. You can get it for just $3,000. A lifetime membership.
I'm looking forward to that one.
And that's something we're going to do because that is such a good deal. We got to do this. And you go out there and you can actually bring your own guns if you want, or you can rent guns once you get there because it's in Vegas. It's not in Vegas. It's in Nevada, 45 minutes west of Las Vegas. And we know somebody that's been there, and he said it is awesome. So we're going to go check it out. If you would like to go check it out, do it and become a lifetime member at a huge discount at RadioSavings.com. You ever heard of the name Mark Zuckerberg, Heidi?
Oh, yeah.
Who's that guy?
He's the Facebook dude.
He's the Facebook dude. And he had his Twitter account hacked.
I heard that. I thought that was hilarious.
Filled with all kinds of fake tweets. That's kind of funny.
I think that's so funny.
I think it's funny that he even has a Twitter account.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if I was the owner of Facebook, I don't think I'd have a Twitter account. Does he have a MySpace page too?
Probably.
I'm on LinkedIn too. Why? Just be on Facebook. That's yours. All right. The Playboy Mansion will be sold to the next door neighbor. And guess who the next door neighbor is?
Who's that?
The people who have Twinkies. The founders of Twinkies or whatever. It says Playboy Mansion will be sold to the next door neighbor. Hollywood's ultimate party palace and scene of celebrity debauchery is no longer up for sale. The 5-acre property next door neighbor has picked it up for an undisclosed price. I think it was $15 and a lifetime supply of Twinkies. It might have been a little more than that. Hey, a dad sells disrespectful son's SUV on Craigslist.
I saw that, but I didn't read it.
Fed up with his son smoking weed and acting all thug, a Florida dad sold the teen's SUV on Craigslist and agreed to take $250 off the price if the buyer lived in the area, just so his son would see the vehicle every now and then to remind him, quote, how good he had it. Boy.
That's fantastic.
Alan Geiger Jr., Geiger says he's received calls and messages praising him for, quote, standing up for other parents.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, this kid apparently was
being naughty.
Being naughty. Now, good news, no more car.
Now you need a ride to be naughty.
Minnesota's governor declared Prince Day. That was Tuesday. Prince Day was a day to mark which would have been the singer's 58th birthday. He died in April from an accidental overdose of fentanyl, I think is how you say it. It's really sad. But Tuesday was Prince Day, and I didn't even know it. Did you know it was Prince Day?
I did not.
Nor did I. Chico, California, it is against the law to detonate a nuclear device within city limits. You'll get a $500 fine for that. Yeah. Another strange law is Rumford, Maine. It is illegal for a tenant to bite his or her landlord.
Oh, well. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be the case?
I would think that's illegal everywhere.
Everywhere? Again, some of these laws, I'm like, what incident happened where that had to be put on the books? I mean, somebody had to all right, somebody's biting their landlord. Is that illegal? We need to make that illegal. Yeah, it should be illegal, I would think. Have we talked about this Bible that is published with just emojis? Did we talk about that?
I don't think so.
Okay. I'm going to scroll up here because that's going to be our final story then. I'm going to share that. The Bible has been translated, Heidi, into a bunch of different languages, but a new one is slightly more unusual. It was published a little over a week ago. The Emoji Bible.
Wow.
Marketed as Scripture for Millennials, the Bible has been translated from the King James Version using photo emojis or picture emojis for the first time ever. Launched about a little over a week ago. It's now available for download on iTunes. The emoji version has also been shared on Twitter at BibleEmoji.com. I'm sorry, I'm not good at this whole Twitter thing. At Bible Emoji. That's what it is. Don't put the .com. That's something different. At Bible Emoji.
There's no way the whole thing can be emojis. It's gotta have them just sprinkled in there.
Apparently the whole thing.
I mean, how would you say, like, Barnabas and
I don't know.
emoji and
they have a little picture of Barnabas? Yeah. Don't ask me. I didn't write this thing, and I'm not even saying it's a good idea. I think it's kind of bizarre, but it's a fun story to share for our bonus break, brought to you by radiosavings.com. And if you go to radiosavings.com and if you buy that awesome Front Sight Firearms Training Institute membership, it's a lifetime membership.
That's a fantastic deal.
$15,000 value. Now, you might have heard of Front Sight from their reality TV show. If you've never heard of the reality TV show, you got to go online and search for that. It's really kind of a cool thing. But these guys train people from all over the country and all over the world. They travel there. It is just west of Las Vegas. A $15,000 membership can be yours right now at radiosavings.com for just $3,000. That is a $12,000 savings for Father's Day. Check it out at radiosavings.com.